Habari ya asubuhi. Kwa majina naitwa Willis Raburu almaarufu kama Bazoo, na leo hii nitaendesha kipindi kwenye lugha ya Kiswahili. Ya kwamba hapa hivi leo tunaongelea mada kuu, mada ya Mike amesema nisiendelee. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a good time and everything is going well for you from wherever you are. It's another Tuesday, so today we want to talk about something very interesting. It's called emotional intelligence. You probably heard the word, had it thrown around, use it as an excuse. Yes, I'm talking to you. And, you know, to get out of some things or to get into, but we want to try to unpack it. And especially as it relates, it kind of relates different in some ways to men and women. People look at it differently, and sometimes it's, you know, about more of how we are brought up. But we'll get into that in a short while. Let me introduce the panel here. Roberta Bobby.
Well gone.
What's happening?
Everything is happening. Good things are gone.
Good things are gone. Everything nice.
Niko salama. Niko very happy, very excited. Uko aje?
Mimi niko sawa. Nimepumzika.
Karibu back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've been, you know, out there resting. Yeah, we thank the Lord.
You needed it.
Yeah, when I finished, I think niliangalia kwa mirror niko na kama na glow. But it's also I use these days, I use vitamin C.
Oh, okay. Na ulipaka sunscreen.
No, I did. I wouldn't mention the brand name, but it's the one that has worked. Most of the time I get irritations, but this one worked.
Okay.
But yo, if you want me to mention you,
Wakuvutie wise. Press the thing.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Mike.
Yes, sir.
You know I was almost calling you Robert.
Wilson said to give me another name.
But I really
nowhere near my birth certificate.
Tunaweza kwa Robert and Roberta.
So
it's
more fun.
That's what it is. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How you doing?
I'm fine.
How you guys doing?
Salama.
Me, I'm blessed. I'm happy. Yeah. I mean, you know, every day. You know, they say one of the biggest underrated blessings is just waking up in the morning.
That's
true. So you just wake up in the morning and, you know, the fact that you're here and alive and able to participate and contribute and experience this great world is a blessing.
It is. True. It is indeed. Shatter boy.
Wagwan.
How you do?
Niko blessed.
Yes.
Unajua watu wengi nafikiriaga alarm ndo inawamshaga.
Uko aita.
Niko best.
Niko fresh.
Everything Chris, everything fresh.
Alarm yako imelia sasa.
Shida. Shida. Ukitaka kujua kuna shida alarm inakupataka kwa ofisi ama kwa barabara ukitembea. So you know.
Ulishatoka.
Yeah, alarm inalia ukiwa hapa.
Shatter is like me, you have an alarm for your alarm.
Yes, that's it.
Mimi nakwanga hivyo. Na seti ile yenye ya kawaida. Then sasa ile wacha ni seti alarm.
Unajua kuna alarm ni mbili. Kuna ile ya the ideal person you want to be.
Yes.
Kuna ile ya the person you
the real person you want.
Unajiwekea zote mbili.
So umesema mimi ni mtu wa 420.
Bas.
Alarm yangu inakoingia 420.
Hata yangu.
Haya. All right, so of course Shaz is still in the diaspora.
Feeling nice.
Feeling nice and feeling Chris. Today CJ is not with us. He's going through a tough time in his family. So because he's not said it himself yet, you can just go to his pages, and if you see what's going on, you can be there for him and support him. We don't want to announce it for him. So you can go and check it out on his official pages at CJ Atemo and be there for him. But just to let him know, if you're watching or if you watch it later, we are with you, CJ, in any way, shape, or form. You need us to be there. Tutakuwa hapo. All right. So today I want to talk about something called emotional intelligence. Like I said, now I need to Google. And this is the definition that came up on the Google. It says it's the ability to understand, use, manage your own emotions in positive ways, to relieve stress, communicate effectively, hi Roberta, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. To understand, use, and manage your own emotions. That is, sasa kama ingekuwa ile kwa shule, the abbreviation ni UMA. Understand, manage, and use. UMA. All right? Wacha na hiyo story. Understand, manage.
Najua ni mtoto akilazimishwa kukula.
Ama ingine. Yeah,
Fork. Gani sio hii ya kukula.
Si fork ndio uma.
Pia ile jembe ya kulima.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it clearly explains pale tumetoka.
Difference zenu. Fork na jembe.
Na mali ya uma pia vile inakulwa.
Na mali ya uma. So that is it.
That's why they call it mali ya uma. Vile wanaikulaga. The politicians. That's why they call it mali ya uma, yes?
Nimechoka.
Okay.
Alafu sasa wanataka to contribute na tunalipa tax. Sorry for another day. Haya, so understand, manage and use your emotions to get rid of stress, communicate effectively, etc. Roberta, you are of the thought or school of thought that fidigialdem wanaweka pressure sana, while sisi we're just waltzing around life, waiting to come and find this complete whole person. Alafu sasa, please work on me.
Grow with me, build with me. If you don't stay with me when I'm struggling, you're not wife material, which is crazy. Okay, my opinion is that sisi women tuna growingi very, very into emotions. The environments which we grow up in, our emotions are really encouraged. We're encouraged to talk about it. So it's easier for us to be able to use, manage, and hiyo ingine ilikuwa hiyo ya uma.
Use, manage,
and
understand.
Understand. It's almost natural to us. But as a woman who interacts with men, I'm realizing that it comes a bit more difficult to men for them to be able to communicate or even feel their feelings or even just understand and say what they feel. So I feel like the baggage is really placed on women for us because almost every woman I know, almost every other girl I know has been in a situation where she has been required to be tolerant or patient or extremely understanding of when a man is going through things and he can't say what they are. But I was just thinking about it like, which man ever asks me, how are you feeling? And they just want to listen and talk to me about my feelings. It's always me trying to beg men, my brothers, my father, my friends, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. So it's really difficult because I feel like emotional intelligence is a tool that is necessary. Like, it's very resourceful. All of us need it. And I always tell the people around me, once you know how to manage and feel and control your emotions, then you become like you're the last guy everyone has to fight because you're more powerful than everyone else. And it's like men, the way they're socialized, it's like they're socialized to think things like anger are not emotions. So when they're angry at a football match and they're breaking a wall, that's not emotions, that's just being a man. But then that leaves them at a disadvantage because they don't feel, if they don't know what they're going through, then you don't know what you're managing, you don't know what you're communicating, you don't know what you're feeling. So yeah, I think emotional intelligence is something that all of us need to really, really work on and improve on. Ni kama tu logical intelligence, kukua tu na akili smart. You're way better, you're more advantaged when you're able to be smarter than everyone else in the room than just saying, mi sina emotions, si feelingi, so it leaves you at a space where you can't handle it, you can't manage it. So then when you're going through emotions, you don't even know those are emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and, okay, kwa hiyo sifilingi pia is another thing we'll talk about. But Mike, what do you think about what Bobby is saying and what your own thoughts are about emotional intelligence?
I think, wow, if you're living in a society where you have to interact with people, emotional intelligence is extremely important. You know, in all facets of your life, whether it is in your social life, whether it is in your professional life. I think we've all come across those people who, anytime you see them, you're like, oh, you hata sijui nitamwelezea aje, because when you start talking with them, it becomes an argument, it becomes anger, it becomes, you start even wondering, where is all this energy coming from?
Right.
You know, and there's some people who are just, you know, they look, it's really, really impossible to interact with them because they get angry quickly, they take things out of context, you know, you're just unable to, you know, communicate with them. Yeah, and always defensive. So I think, you know, for men, why it's so difficult is because traditionally, even the way we are socialized, we are not given the tools to be able to process our emotions. We always say, put your emotions there in the back pocket over there next to your wallet, and you head out into the world and solve whatever issues you need to solve. So we're not really given the tools to be able to do that, or even the space to be able to do that.
Well, be a man meant whatever it is you're going through,
and nobody should see what is going on with you.
Right.
You know, because then that's going to be a sign of weakness. Nobody should see what's going on with you. And now, unfortunately, as we keep those things inside, they keep piling and piling and piling and piling and piling, and then now manifest in very different ways. You know, now you've got anger issues. Now you're always irritable. Now you're going into anxiety and depression. You know, now you're the kind of person who's always fighting with everybody around you because you have not been taught how to process all that. So for emotional intelligence, you need to actually call yourself to a meeting and sit and now start processing, why is it I think the way I think? Why is it I do the things that I do? How does that affect me? How does that affect the ones around me? Because remember, if your cup is empty, you have nothing to pour out. Yeah? So if you're completely drained because of you're unable to deal with your own emotions, then you're no good to yourself or anybody around you. Right. So that said, emotional intelligence requires about 5 things. One is self-awareness. You need to be able to understand yourself and reflect about why you think, the way you think and do the things that you do.
Right.
2 is self-regulation. Being then able to say, okay, this is how I behave. When Willis comes at me in the morning, usually when he says this, I react this way. But then now I have to regulate these emotions because I'm living in a space where there are other people. And then empathy. To be able to say, okay, how do I put myself in Shatter's shoes? Because I want to understand where he's coming from. When he's telling me these things, I'm not just super defensive because I'm feeling I'm being attacked, but I want to understand where is he coming from? Why is he saying what he's saying? You know? And then after that, have responsible decision making. When you decide that, you know, it's like this or the highway. You know, have responsible and accountable decision making. And then the last thing is social skills. Just to understand that my emotions have to be processed in an environment where there are other people.
Imagine if we treated each other like this, like all of us.
Yeah.
All the things you just said.
These are 5. They're not, you can't use your ziko hivi. Shatter boy.
Yeah, man.
I know one of the things that nimekusikia ukisema time and time again is what he has said, jite.
Kamkutano.
There you go. So, so what for to you? What is emotional intelligence? And is how you are raised? Just for nasema folk na uma. Is how you are raised? You know, a function of how utai perceive or how you let out, if that's the word, emotional intelligence.
Niko na different perspective ya ingori ya wanaume na emotional intelligence. Men are very intelligent emotionally. Just that watu hawaiona hivyo, you know. Haven't you seen me watching an Arsenal game?
Yes.
Or Senegal?
No, for you, I've seen you any game, really. Yes, okay. Any football match. So
clearly, when I want to be emotional, I will be.
That's right.
You know? Kuna pali utafika tu, and you will have to shut those emotions. Vile tumegrow. Because a man, kwanza mwenye ametengeneza hiki to big up on yourself.
Hata mimi ndio actually, can we have
kidogo?
This can we have it on full screen if we can? Yes. It's amazing. Sijui nani ametengeneza
big up on yourself.
Big up because niambia jina kwa sababu nimesahau earpiece. Usiambiane. Ataniambia jina
This is the reality kwa ground ya mwanaume.
Right.
That a man is a machine. And you cannot have an emotional machine. Because when that machine decides to work,
unless it's AI.
Yes.
Artificial.
Yes.
Yes. There it is. Yeah.
More fire. So when you have a machine that is emotional, today it will work, tomorrow it does not work. So how does the society move?
Right.
You know, a man has been trained to be a machine, to provide. Get? And that's why sometimes we avoid those emotions in order to keep the society moving. You know? So if you unaonanga mwanaume amekata, maybe I open up to you, kama mdem. Number 1, it is self-preservation, which is the number 1 human principle. It is self-preservation that you know, if I open up, this is I'm giving this person, they will be attaching me with this.
But then in opening up, right? So Koma-sama, he's not opening up to you. So is it a you problem? Is he opening up to somebody else?
This is it. We will open up kwa bar, na wanaume wengine tukiwatch ball, you know?
Really?
That is what we do. You get that.
You guys really talk about emotions when you're in that environment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised. We do a lot. You know,
okay.
Hebu enda tukae chini na barman, mwambie hebu nipigie stories za wanaume wanakuja kukwambia.
Wanakuambia sasa.
Mama anavuruga mtaani.
Top 5.
Job inavuruga.
6 things about men. Number 7 will shock you. Yeah.
You know? So you know you have to release your emotions. like unakwaga umejikeji juu probably hata surrounding yenye unamboenda be vulnerable at the back of your mind, you know this place is not safe for me. You know when to get vulnerable, you know when to get emotional because umejiprogram. Nile tu sasa huyu mtu mwenye anakuambia open up haja realize that hauko comfortable ku open up kwake, unaelewa? Na anafaa ku create your environment ukue okay ku open up to her, unaelewa? But yeah, ana feel but I'm your wife, I'm your girlfriend, I'm your partner, you should be telling me these things. But wewe una feel number one, kuna ile niki open up utapanic kama wife yangu, maybe mimi ndo na provide hapa home na na feel job inaenda kuisha, you know? So nikikuambia utapanic, hii nyumba itakuwa ni chaos, una get? Kuna mtu ana feel hivyo, ana feel hauwezi handle whatever it is anataka kukuambia, so akwambia, unaelewa?
But is that
so it is not look, is it fair based on how you look? See, let me tell you something, it is their bringing.
Okay.
Hivyo ndo umegrow kama mwanaume,
right?
Una get? Na mimi kitu na society kiapen ni ati everyone is telling a man how to be a man apart from a man. Everyone out here is telling us, be a man, do this, do that. But what about the man himself? What does he have to say about being himself? Once you answer that question, you will realize people are emotionally intelligent. It's just that the application of it varies from person to person. Una get? Yeah.
So then, I'll go back to Mike then, Roberta, because you mentioned self-awareness, right, as one of the five. Yeah. So how does that happen? Because you have environments like where Roberta is saying, yeah, the men around her life wanasema, yo, talk to me, tell me how you're feeling. So there's the environment, right? But there's something we mentioned up. I think one of the hardest things, I think we were having that conversation with Roberta some time back, is ku realize, okay, kwa hii shida, hata mimi nilikuwa na role. Si ati huyu mtu amenikosea, lakini hata mimi nilikuwa na role. So how do you, as a man, get to the place where sasa you become, because I believe that that's where you should start then, because being in a place where unaona you can't really share, you are not comfortable sharing with the person you're living with, but unaweza enda to a random stranger in a bar, ule ule dem anakuanga amebeba mingi, amebeba to drinks.
Just that's the one you want to
you know, before nipatie shot, lakini nyenye wanawake. Now of course hata ku entertain because she's waiting for you to pay for the shot.
Yes.
So how do you, what are the steps to like getting to a place where wacha nijijue, and then now being vulnerable enough, wacha nijiachilie?
I think even at that place where you're feeling you want to go and talk to somebody in the bar,
right,
is one of the first steps. You know, because it's very hard to tell somebody about something that they are not experiencing and expect them to understand what you are trying to explain to them.
Right.
You know, it's like, for example, going to have a conversation with a child about issues of puberty and all those things, and hajafika hapo bado. You know, it might be a bit difficult for them to understand, you know. So there's stage-appropriate information, there's age-appropriate information. So William, amefika hiyo stage of I want to go now to the bar to talk to somebody, that one now is in a prime position to be able to start asking himself or herself very difficult questions about what they're going through.
Right.
Jordan Peterson, who's one, he's a Canadian professor, fantastic, brilliant man.
Oh, he's Canadian.
Yeah,
he's Canadian, yeah.
He's a fantastic, brilliant man. He says, you know, one of the things that you need to do is what we're saying, call yourself to a meeting. Sit at the edge of your bed at night, silent. Nothing else is happening in the house. And ask yourself, what are those things that I need to do, that I should be doing, but I'm not doing, that are holding me back? And why? You will get the answers you're looking for. And they will not be the answers you want, but they'll be the answers you need. That's the most important thing for you to be able to do. And that's how self-awareness now begins. The problem with us is we don't want, unajua mwanaume, si ujua kila kitu, you know. Mi, najua. Yeah, this you know, men are like, let me ask the two of you, how many of you even, when you buy a new appliance in the house, read the manual? Unashikanisha tu vitu.
Wife anakuambia si jaribu hii weke hapana.
The woman in the house will come, flip through the manual, fix the thing haraka. Wewe umengangana hapo na cables unapigia shutter. Wait, sio kitu yako hii cable ya red inaendanga wapi? You know, so that's the thing that we're like that. We know everything.
Right.
So it's very difficult. You need to be very intentional about that situation and say, "Hii kitu inaniumiza, and I need to find a solution to this thing." And even if you don't want to talk to somebody, at least sit down with yourself first and ask yourself those hard questions. You will get the answers. The answers. Now, from there, you decide, now that I have these answers, what am I going to do with these answers? Do I just sweep them under the carpet and say, "Apana"? Or do I say, now, let me seek help? I call either a friend, or I go and seek professional help somewhere. That's the next step that goes from there. If you can't talk to your partner, look for somebody else who you can talk to. Unfortunately now, the people who you're going to talk to are also in the same position as you. Hata wao wenyewe are going through things that they don't know how to process, they don't know how to... So what I like to encourage people to do, especially men, is to have that close
circle,
that circle of friends who you can talk to and tell each other the truth. Me, I'm going through this issue. And what will happen is, by talking about it, sometimes just talking about it, you find the solution comes from talking. Utajipata tu, hey, I didn't think of it that way. Somebody says something and you pick up and you're like, wow, okay, I didn't process it that way. Or somebody in that circle might have resources that you can, you can use and tell you, hey, okay, I know a guy called CJ. Pigia CJ. That guy anaweza kukusaidia, by the way. That guy is very good at these things. So that's the process.
Right. Yeah. And Roberto, when you mentioned the fact that, first I'm very interested to find out, like you said, when you ask, what has been your experience when you asked men, how do you feel? What is the feedback you got? Did you feel like they gave you honest answers? Deep.
It's
fresh, and then you just kind of go along.
It's always generic answers. It's always answers to maliza. But you see me, the type of person I am, lazima nifuatilie.
Answers to maliza.
Yeah, inakwanga tu.
Niko sawa.
Niko amazing job. Yeah, but I'm not asking you about job. I'm asking you how you... Actually, I never ask. If you're keen, if you're around me a lot, you'll realize I never ask how are you. I ask how are you feeling. That's what I always ask. I always ask, how are you feeling? Because it's a bit more specific. I'm trying to understand, how are you feeling? Are you sad? Are you happy? How is it? I want to know how you really are. If I ask, how are you, wase uko?
But as tuko town.
Vitu ziko fiti.
Vitu ziko town. Tunangangana tu. Yeah.
So I just wish that we were able to reach an agreement that this is a tool that we all really, really need. It shouldn't even be like a woman thing or a men thing. It should be, you need this. Because you're more, like I said, you're more advantaged when you're at a situation where you're able to manage your emotions. If someone pisses you off, instead of reacting in a crazy way, you're able to just be empathetic, you're able to be understanding, you're able to be in their shoes, like, okay, what is Shatta going through? How can I talk to him? Do I need to give him space? And if we were able to be more tolerant and patient with each other like that, tunaweza eliminate hizi issues zote za wase kukuwa na avoidant attachment styles, anxious attachment styles, because if I have created a space where you feel free enough to communicate with me, and you, wherever you are, you know that it's safe to communicate with me, hakuna haja kulengana tukikosana. It's, tunajua already, najua Willis ananidingi space, your space yake ni 1 week, na mimi nanidingi kudiscuss immediately. So let's reach a compromise. Let's give it 2 days. He'll have got his space, and I'll manage to get my communication at the end of those 2 days. So if we're able to be more tolerable and more communicative and empathetic with each other, solving things becomes so easy and showing love becomes so easy. Like me, even CJ was telling me, in the beginning of when we started out together as a team on this show, I felt like I was always coming from a place of anger, and like my questions were always, why? Why should I be the, why am I the one who's a bigger person? Why should I be the patient one?
Right.
And then you get to practice it and you realize the advantage of being able to manage your emotions. Now I know, oh, I needed to be patient because when I listen better, it makes people talk more. They're able to come to me easier. So it's always like Shazmin always says, before you even lash out at the other person, like, this person doesn't talk to me, they don't like solving things, they're not intelligent enough to be able to talk about things, you should ask yourself first, how is the space that I'm creating for them? Am I making a space that they're able to talk to me, they're able to feel their emotions, they're able to be honest with me. Am I being nice to them enough? Am I being kind to them enough? And the other person should always meet you halfway as well. And something about relationships is, the big telltale of relationships is, I always say, is that feeling like you're on the same page. Whether mmekosana, ama mongeleshani, ama mna fight, at the end of the day, you should always feel like you're on the same page.
Right.
As soon as iyo disparity inakuja where, hauko sure, siko sure kama ikataniongelesha tena, then you know it's starting to wander off, because strong relationships and healthy relationships, it doesn't matter what you go through. It's about how you handle it, how you fix things. At the end of the day, are you willing to talk about things and be empathetic and be like, yo, I know I angered you, and I'm sorry, and it's okay that you don't feel like talking now, but can we please talk tomorrow because I miss you? It's as simple as that. Haifai kukwati. By the way, mi uko very confused nikiona watu wana avoid conflict or wanna avoid difficult discussions, because how else are you going to build a strong foundation for your relationship if you're difficult to tell someone, ulini hurt, sikusikia poa venye uli make your joke. If I'm not able to tell you that, then what else are we ever going to be able to talk about?
It's the basic, yeah.
Everything else is fake and a lie. So hizo conversations ngumu hizo za Bobby unanukanga mdomo. Kwanza I had a nightmare jana usiku. I had a nightmare that
What had happened was
that my friends ganged up on me and they were like, your breath is so bad. So when I woke up in the morning, I went to brush my teeth. I don't know where that dream came from.
But it was, interrogate.
Oh my God.
Maybe kuna kitu
But it was crazy.
I think it's more about your friends than the breath.
but those I feel like those were honest friends.
Right.
Like they were able to just ilikuwa
But kuna
dream.
njia ya kupasa cross. Walikuwa nakwambia
If you're honest friends, it
I have
would have been a
something to
dream,
tell
not a
you.
nightmare.
Nasija ni kama.
Okay, yeah.
Ama
It really was a nightmare.
If kama ni honest friends, ingekuwa dream.
Yeah.
Hao ni wanafiki, sio marafiki. Ni maana nightmare. Hata mimi had a nightmare last night. Mpaka naogopa kuongea. Nimeota watu wananichambulia kwa mtandao. Oh mama, sasa nashangaa. Hadi leo nimejiambia Mungu leo nisiseme kitu. Niseme kitu kwa yote.
In fact, sasa wacha nikuulize swali. Now on that note, the flip side of the thing is that just like you said, sometimes there are people who don't want to really express themselves and or tell somebody the quote unquote the truth. Or okay, not let's unquote it. Just to tell somebody the truth. Yeah. The reality of it is what Shatta was talking about is true sometimes, that kuna watu who you told them, okay, so in my previous relationship nilikuwa this ex alikuwa talk down on me. Then sasa akikasirika anasema I don't know wonder who dem wako alikuwa anakuongelea shanga hivyo. Wewe kwani wewe nini? And so then they kind of retreat because the experience now has become vile ulikuwa unasema ukiongea unapatia mtu ama. Sasa msa anafanya aje kwa hiyo situation and thing.
Sasa number one, vile tumesema kujita kama mkutano. Sasa huyo jamaa amesema ukae hapo at the edge of your bed. Uongelee. Ukaanza ameassume unaishi peke yako.
Room ni yako solo.
Unaweza kuwa umekaa hivi ulizwe formation. Babe, what's going on?
Wewe kwanza amekaa hapo bed ndo anafanya ukae kwa hiyo edge.
Kwanza ni edge. You're not sitting comfortably.
Unaona get? Lakini kwa hii dunia mimi nasemaga kuna watu wawili wazidanganya. Wewe na Mungu wako. Whoever you believe is your supreme being and creator, you can never lie to them and you can never lie to yourself. Sawa. So unajua kugauge mtu. Kuna wakati if you get in touch with your emotion and your being, you realize things around people without even talking to them. Utajua mtu na connect naye emotionally hivi. You will know the information to give this person. You will know the level at which this information should go and how this person can handle this information. We get disappointed because of over-expecting. I clearly know that huyu mtu wangu anazafika hapa na hii information, anazaprocess mpaka hapa. Unaget, lakini wewe una over-expect from that person. At the end of it all, unapata disappointment. So next time unaweza kumwambia wewe hata uwezi niongelesha. Wewe hata uwezi nisikiliza nikikwambia. Why? Because you're expecting from this person. Kuna na pia ukiishi na yeye sio ati pale ulimpata juzi ndio atakuwa leo. Kuna hiyo growth pin happen.
Right.
Because yes, you're mawe. Right. So you keep gauging this information mkisonga tu, information ina grow, like una feel hapa anaweza ni beba mpaka hapa, anani understand mpaka hapa, una get at the end of it all maybe utajipata. Jua hata mwenyewe hujajijua fully, pia una grow. Kuna vitu utafika point that huku unajua ziko ndani yako zitoke na ule mtu wako maybe hata zi understand at that moment. Juu pia wewe kwako ni alien. You get unajua.
Hata wewe bado
unaiprocess. This is an alien to you, you get. But hiyo kukubali kugrow pamoja, like na kutolerate mtu wako in the sense that najua hajafika hapo but maybe one day atafika, unaona. Lakini sasa kwa wanaume ku open up to watu wao ngori inakuaga mimi na feeling ni at first of all 90% of the problems that you want to share ni huyo mtu wako amekama up nazo. Sawa sawa.
90 na kana namba kubwa lakini
99% my friend, mtu hauko emotionally attached to hawezi kukustress. How? Utamsahau and you step. Sasa, but if I am emotionally attached to you, of course your feelings affect me. We start there. Una get your thought process affects me. Ile mudu utamka nayo inani affect because we are connected emotionally, me and you. So your emotions are bound to affect me. Lakini mdu tunapatananga kwa ofisi ati amenifuria na tumeka kufanya job. Hii itani affect aje? Haiwezi. Lakini umeamka asubuhi mama amefrown. Haujui ulifanya nini? Pia wewe utakaa chini sasa hapa kunaendaje? Ndio imekuwa affect immediately. Nimeanza kuhit home.
It's good.
Zile ngori most uko nazo zenye unafaa kudiscuss ni mdogo anakuaga mostly amechangia. Ndio unakuaga ni ngumu kuanza kumwambia. Juu sasa umedecide ku get vulnerable umwambie tu kitu. Bala kusikiliza akujibu. Juu pia yako hurt probably. Ana feel pia kuna vitu pia ana feel, si ndio? Bala kukusikiliza atakujibu. What you will do as a man is you will retract. Utanyamaza. Juu kama unajua wanaume wengi hatujapewa hiyo gift ya kujibishana. What we do mostly is that tutakwambia tukiona umetujibu tunyamaza. Then nitaenda kurun tuko nje na kina Willis. Unaona enda kwambia kina Mike huko tukipiga shots. Maze ule mtu anisikizagi. Una get. Juu hatujui kupashana hivi one on one. Na pia ukipashana hii kitu ulikuwa unataka kusolve becomes even more bigger. Unaelewa, like ilikuwa ni kitu kidogo tulikuwa tunataka deal now na mtu wangu but sasa at the end of it all now we have made it even bigger because now it has become an argument. You know, we are talking at each other, not to each other. Unaelewa, so vitu kama hizo zinachangia sana, unapata msee haezi jiachilia home.
But I think my thinking is this, and there's a quote I want to read. It's been attributed to Aristotle, but it is debatable. Kama nienda alisema ama kusema, however, it's a good quote, I think. It says, it is right that we ask people to accept each of the things which are said in the same way. For it is the mark of an educated person to search for the same kind of clarity in each topic to the extent that the nature of the matter accepts it. The way imekuwa ikikotiwa online, it is the mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it. But then he goes on to say, each person judges well what they know and is thus a good critic of those things. For each thing in specific, someone must be educated to be a critic, or to be a critic in general, one must be educated about everything. So hakuna vile unaweza kuwa unajua kila kitu. So the thing I'm saying is,
ungaza pia Bible up, my people shall perish
for lack of knowledge. Hiyo nayo tunajua hiko. Thank you very much indeed. So my point is, Mike, I guess, isn't it part of emotional intelligence peer to know that even as a man or as a woman, that I can actually go to Mike and tell him my problem, and one, he might have the solution, two, he might not have the solution, three, because, you know, like you said, we are emotionally connected, and as any tell off, like, kuenda, anaweza kosa kuelewa, but I feel, and I could be, no, I am right, and I'm kidding, I could be wrong, but isn't it then part of emotional intelligence kuendelea kuongea hata kama unaongea hivi muna trade bubbles hadi mufike some sort of level ground? What do you think?
I think that comes now to your communication styles in your relationship. And you have to agree on what your communication style is.
Right.
You see, the same way you agree on what your love language is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah? You have to agree what your
Hapo kwa love language watu wanakuanga, yeah.
what your fighting language
Mine is touch.
Yeah, you have to
Touch me.
Yeah, you have to agree. You have to agree what your fighting language,
Right.
your conflict language is.
Right.
Yeah. Your love language, you know, she likes flowers, she likes this, she likes that. So hapo kazi kwako sasa. But what is your conflict language? And conflict language now goes to what Shatta was saying. You have to have ground rules. When we have a conversation, these are the things you cannot bring into this conversation. You can't start bringing in things that I told you in confidence that, and when I told you about when I was vulnerable, you cannot now bring those into this conversation, into this conflict. You have to have ground rules. You can't start saying that now, unajua, because mwanaume inafikanga mahali, Kiswahili inapotea, Kizungu inaisha. Yeah, so the only thing now that you have left is to pull something
from back
they
then.
told you, umgonge nao ndio anyamaze. Because unajua akiendelea sasa, ndamalizwa kabisa. So you know, I have to pull something, some ammo from huko. I bring at least iishe for 30 minutes, nipate time ya kujicompose.
Kujicompose.
So that's what that is.
So you have to understand what your conflict language is. And you have to, what are the ground rules of this conflict? Yeah. If we are fighting, let's take the whole day. Atakara tutajibishana. We'll keep quiet for a while, but at least by the end of the day, we come to a solution. You know, your conflict language can be hakuna kunyamaziana. Yeah. If we can stay silent for 30, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, but we'll come back to revisit the thing.
Yes.
Let's not do Cold War for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to have ground rules for your conflict and conflict language as well.
All right. So some ground rules are very important in the way that you communicate. So, okay.
Nirushie Bobby swali tu.
Bobby.
Ulikuwa unampea tu sasa.
Bwana unakuja unajificha tena nyuma yangu.
Nyuma yako nikipeana tu hii swali. Unajua pia kama ni kusolve ama hata uselewe mwanaume uko emotionally vulnerable. Unataka kuongelesha mtu wako. Why are we not remembering that mostly mademu wengi wanakuaga wako wanataka kusikilizwa. So before wewe uende kuambia mtu wako kitu, already ananidi umsikilize. Unaget, unapata huna time ya wewe kusikilizwa because every day is you listening. Unaget. It is ukiongea na maboyo sasa mimi nakupatia perspective ya machali. Machali wengi tu kuinje wanakuaga na hiyo. Una vile mtu anakuambia demu anaweza kuambia need 2k urgently. Pia kuna wale wa kusikilizwa urgently. Anataka tu akona a pressing issue either from home, unaget, from friends, from work. Every day kuna kitu anafaa kusikilizwa. Unaget. So unapataga wewe ushazoeaga mimi na kusikiliza. Sifai kusikilizwa. You know? That one also happens to us. Why do you think that happens?
And it's so interesting to listen to you ask that question because most times, especially as a woman, when I'm thinking about such things, of course, I'm just thinking about myself, my end. I never really start to think about, oh, how does the man feel or what's his opinion on what's happening in this situation? And that's a really, really good question. So I think, like Mike said, it boils down to self-awareness then again. Like it all has to come back to you because before you can even relate with someone else, before you can even lay the rules for discussing conflict and love and whatever the discussion is, you have to be very confident and independent and aware and okay with yourself emotionally and logically and in all ways so that when you're in such a situation, you're able to tell your girl, hey babe, kila siku muku. Like if I hata kukua argument ama discussion gumu, inafaa tu ikuwe as easy as babe, wewe kuja kuniambia stories daily. Like leo na feel nika nataka ku open up. Is it okay if I'm the one who just tells you how I feel? Maybe she doesn't even realize she does that. Or maybe it's nothing that anyone has ever told her. But because wewe una come from point una feel, siskizwangwi, una take to assumption that udema skizangi yetu ndo ukamna issues kila saa. But when you bring yourself to a spot where you're able to talk about it, ata we una realize, oh, it's the same way I normally tell you guys. I have a lot of brothers and my brothers always do this with me. They're a bit more blunt with me. They just tell me, babi ukikasirika unakwanga mean. There's people, of course, I've been mean to that I never realized and they never had the courage to tell me, or we didn't have a rapport where they were able to just say, Bobby, this is how you act. But when I hear it from my brother, someone who loves me, it's not coming from malice or anger, it's coming from, yo, you have to change your attitude because this is how you act when this is happening. And then for me, because I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to do better, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, Shatta, I never listened to you in the relationship. You know what? Let's do this. I'll be telling you and then you tell me. Or you tell me these days, ama, ukiona ni kama nimeongea sana na sijakusikiza, please feel free to let me know. Babe, even me, I need to talk. It's just a communication thing. And kitu nimerealize sana in relationships, even in whatever kind of relationships, whatever you're feeling, whatever grievances or angers that you have within yourself about the other person, most likely they feel the same way. And that's how conflict comes about because hamwelewani, munasema the same thing. Mimi, nikisema leo tuongeje emotional intelligence, my feeling was that it's all women do. We're always babysitting men's feelings. We're always taking care of the men in our lives. It's always, he's going through things he doesn't want to say. And it's not that he doesn't want to. Maybe if he could, he would, but he doesn't know how to because no one has ever taught him or no one has ever given him the space to communicate. So when I come on with anger, men never. And then I listen and I'm like, oh, it's not that men never. It's just that maybe they can't or they don't know how to. So how can we reach a space where we're in consensus about, yo, this is the problem I have, and this is the problem you have. So how can we be better for each other and listen to each other? So it's just a communication thing. I feel like I'm not listened to. I should be able to say, I feel like you don't listen to me enough. Not like, haunisikizangi. It should be kinder. It should be kinder. Yeah. More respectful, more empathetic. I should just be able to tell you, yo, Willis, you don't text me back in time. You make me wait weeks. No. You make me wait weeks for a reply and it pisses me off.
Right.
Then you tell me, oh, miss kwangi WhatsApp. Ama, lakini ka unatakanga ni kureply wazi, that try twice a week. Unaona ni compromise.
At least
like,
there's something.
Lazima, like,
you've talked about it,
to fight, ama tukwe defensive, ama nikwambia unitextingi, juu utai-take like, udema na deni mtext na hata simongeleshangi hivo. So wewe unashanga, inatoka wapi? Na mi pia nashanga, why doesn't he text me back? So it's just a communication thing. Like, we make it easier for ourselves. And then, ukijijua, inakuwa easier for you kujua uko in a relationship na nani as well. So you stop having those crazy expectations and most things just come back down to, can we talk about it so that we're able to understand each other better?
Text, WhatsApp is introducing a new feature called Message Self. So that it's so whenever, let's say, it happens to me a lot where I mental note, naweza hi Willis in my mind, naweza oh hi Roberta, na niweke simu chini but sija text. So it's going to be like notes. So like let's say Mike has told me get back to me at 5, so I hold it and I say message self and I say get back to Mike at 5. So now when I go to WhatsApp, it's up on top. I say get back to Mike at 5, respond to Shatta Boy. Talk to Afune and many other things. By the way, before nisahau kuna jamaa anaitwa Gregory amesema nikusalimie.
Oh, nimesalimika haja.
Huwa nasahau. Leo Gregory amesema nikusalimie. Anyway, I want to ask something because of Gregory Odikanya, because of what you've said. And I've just seen there, but they wameandika hapo chini Shatta. Men know when to be vulnerable. The other thing is it also important? We normally assume, and one thing I've learned from one, again, Ivan Amu, my teacher of life, alisema, sometimes lazima pia uliza mse kabla unapigia mse, and I hear how akiongea na mafidi girl mwake, hi babe, I want to vent, are you ready to listen? Like you need to ask somebody. Unajua unaweza pata mimi sasa hiyo ndo nimetoka hapo kuongeleshwa vibaya, Timo hapo amenikasirisha, nikitoka pale kwa gate George amenikasirisha, nitoka hapo tena driver amepita amenislashia maji, then I go to the car niko na pancha, alafu na upige babe I need to talk. So do you think it's important Shata kuuliza msee, okay, nataka kuvent, uko na capacity ya kunisikiza ama kuihandle situation sahi ama niongee baadaye?
Ngori kubwa inakuwa ni over entitlement that you feel you need to be listened to by anyone at any given time.
Yes sir.
Unaget, so uko over entitled, una feel mbona hutaki kunisikiliza? Unaelewa? Number one, lazima ujue mtu mwingine kama kwa position ya kukusikiliza. Na mimi I make it known to my friends that najua amenipigia simu akitaka kuvent, ananiuliza ninakuaga msee, unaweza sikiliza? That is how it starts. Unaweza sikiliza? Namwambia nipigie in 10 minutes. I create an environment for that. You know, juu unaweza nipigia, ndio hata sasa niko tuna hapa tunaongea, si ndio, maybe tunatembea tu, mtu anipigia nataka kuongea, namwambia nipigie in 15 minutes. Unaget? So in my mind I know in 15 minutes I need to be in a place where I can sit down and listen. You know, tu mtu aongee amalize, juu kusikiza mtu ni poa. Mtu akikupigia simu akitaka kuvent, you should make time for it. Unaget? You am out of hii dunia. First of all, it's a privilege that in this entire world ameona ni wewe pekee unaweza sikiliza ngori zake. Unaget? So give that privilege the respect it deserves. Number one, just create time. Lakini pia mwenye unapiga simu, you must have that grace also of waiting. If someone tells you, give me 5 minutes, give me 10 minutes, I'm in a meeting, I'll sit, I'll talk to you. Unasikiliza, unaona? Another thing, unaweza kuwa kuna issue wewe mwenyewe inakuban, umeenda home, you want to discuss it but unafeel hauko ready kuiongea. Then mtu wako akuulize, ni nini mbaya? Unafeel aje? Ukimwambia siko ready kuongea kitu, afai kuifanya ikue quarrel. Because mostly when you tell people I'm not ready to have this conversation, they unataka kwenda kuiongea na nani? Becomes a fight. So they're adding problems to the problem you have. So when mtu wako amekwambia siko ready kuhandle issue sahi, ni allow to handle kesho, also respect that. Unaget?
Respect the thing. All right. Then Mike, okay, nimeona kumbe time imeenda, but Mike also, you talked about empathy.
Yes.
And the role that it plays in that. How do you, for somebody who has gone through, let's call it trauma, because that's what it is, how does that person come to a place where they become trusting again, empathetic to somebody else? Because inaweza kuwa pia inaweza kuwa ni excuse. That yani, and it could be not really a flaw, but I don't know if I want to call it a weakness, that you are so used to putting other people first. Hata kama msee anakukosea tu kweli, but labda ndio mdosi aje nikosea, anapitia vitu, that's why niongeze mshahara. So acha nitulie. And yet you deserve it. So how do you kind of draw that line where it's not detrimental to yourself, but yet you still want to understand where that person is coming from?
Kwani tulikuwa tukue personal?
Na touch.
Imekutouch.
Ni what?
What those?
What's up, my people?
So here's a situation where you're being empathetic is actually working against you.
Exactly.
Rather than even improving the situation. Well, I think again that comes now with that self-awareness. You know, once you know that, once you understand that hey, I'm always putting myself last, everybody else comes before me, and this is how it is affecting me. You know, you have to put your, you know, I always say there's absolutely nothing wrong with putting yourself first. People will say it's selfish. I think it's self-full. Because if you don't put yourself first, you're continuously draining yourself at the expense of other people, because you, care too much about what other people think about you as a person. So that again comes back to you. And you have to ask yourself, where is this coming from, that I continuously need to have validation, or I continuously need to put myself last and everybody else first? Where is that coming from? And you think back and say, maybe as a child, such and such a thing happened, and this is why I behave this way. Again, it's all about self-awareness. And then asking yourself, okay, by putting myself last and putting everybody else first, everybody else is okay, but I'm not. So this is how this is affecting me. So now, how do I show up for myself more? What are some of the things that I can do? And one of the most important things anybody can ever learn in life is how to say no. That word, no, N-O. The day you learn how to say no.
Also be like
Yes. 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 That
attend.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very
that
hard.
thing is so
easier said than done.
important. And I tell people, if you want to learn how to say no, start with small things.
Yeah.
Don't go to the big no's. Start with a small nose.
Sasa ile kuambia mtoto no.
Yeah, see yo. It's ile. It's ile. I need 2K urgently.
No.
Then see how that plays out. I need you to help me. No, I can't do that now because I'm going through 1, 2, 3 things. And it's what Shatta is saying, that whoever it is that you're saying the no to should have the grace to understand that even you've got things that you're going through.
Right.
And if they don't understand that, you need to reevaluate that person's position in your life.
Yes.
No. No, I'm not saying no to that. No, I'm not saying no to that. I'm just, Eliud Kipchoge calls it, you have to have vitamin N, said.
Yes.
And that is learn to say no. He said that's one of the keys to success.
That's true.
Nimesema no. Wananiambia wind up, no. How is that playing out? Is it working? Hey, itakula memo. Final points.
Unajua, by the way, kwa wanaume, ni poa kusikilizwa. Like, first of all, big up to my daughter, Riley. Mtu yake nipigia simu. Actually, I think was the only person in the world. Amefanyia mpaka nikaanza kufeel, what is this? Akinipigia simu ambianga, how are you, dad? Ambia, I'm fine. Next question is, how are you doing? You know? So I even asked myself, Allah,
how am I doing?
Asking that?
Yes.
Actually, how am I doing? You know, how am I doing? So I'm like, I'm fine, mom, you know? So from there, I've realized actually, someone needs to check up on me also. Because she's doing it, and she's young, she's 8, turning 8. You know, how about the grown-ups? Yes. How often do you check up on men? You know, like, how are you? After salamu next, I want you to. I want you to. You get? But mtu haja kujulia, alikuwa akajua kwa frame gani. So it's very important to check up on men.
Right.
You get? Right. And it is through these small things that now they start opening up and being vulnerable and being emotionally available. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Right, well, we're gonna end it there. Nimesikia muziki na nikisema no ingine hata HR sasa amekuja, itabidi hiyo memo itembee. So we'd like to say thank you so much. But listen, at the end of the day, everything you said here, it is important for you to be emotionally intelligent, to learn. Most important, I think, take away 2 things. Is 1, be self-aware of where you are, what you're feeling, how you got where you are, and what you think the solution is, because more often than not, the answers do come from within. And number 2, something that is easier said than done, is learn how to say no. Iyo kitu, practice it. Try practice it today. If it's something you don't feel like doing, just try saying no. And like you said, watch what happens. Sometimes it could be like setting fire to a forest, but you learn polo polo. It's like a muscle. The more you say it, the more you get courage in doing it, and it becomes part of your life. So no, I won't take criticism, negative criticism. No, I won't take abuse. No, I won't take such and such. No, I won't send you 2K urgently. That is how it's supposed to be. Practice and learn. And all the best. Tutakutana hapa hivi kesho majaliwa. Mungu akubariki sana. Successful people look like you. Full stop. And God loves you.
Ongeza Bruno na Casemiro.
All right.